Hey everybody, this is John Desatel with Desatel and Associates Real Estate, and I am with you here today in beautiful Douglas County in our mountain home in Roxborough Park. And today, I've been making these videos lately, today with no exception. I've been following the news lately, and as you guys know, sometimes I get a little fired up and carried away. This morning was no exception. For the last couple of years, as many of you guys know, and a lot of us agree, sometimes we watch the news and the stories that we watch in the news don't exactly jive with what our own brains uh, talk to us about reality. And just today, as all of us are in our own industries that we work, we kind of as the insiders in our own industries. And again, as I always tell you guys, I'm not Mr. Cocky. I don't want to come across as some god of all knowledge. But I'm watching these news stories come across the news as I do every day. And I watch a news story: 10 most affordable housing markets for home buyers according to Zillow. Zillow's been on my shit list for the last couple years for numerous reasons, and I make no bones about my opinions on Zillow. But this really has nothing to do with my opinion on Zillow, and I really don't want to pick on Zillow for this particular story because all the news media has been guilty about this. And I'm not a news basher. I actually have a lot of respect for the news, a lot of respect for people in the news. I'm not a news basher, and I think sometimes we're hard on the news when we shouldn't be. Those guys do a tremendous job, and we should be proud that we live in a country where we actually have the news. But so this is not about bashing the news. This is really about bashing some of the organizations behind the news. Not the people that report the news, but about the organizations, National Association of Realtors. I hate to admit it, I'm part of it, but some is Zillow. Some of these big Goliath organizations, we're all part of it, we're all guilty of it, that report the news to the news organizations. Because the news organizations are really just pushing this news along in the food chain. But so here's this story, and I really want you guys, I know I go squirrel, but I really have a deeper meaning to where I'm going with this, and I want you guys to follow along. Here are the top 10 most affordable markets: Scranton, Pennsylvania; Youngstown, Ohio; Toledo, Ohio; Akron, Ohio; Jackson, Mississippi; Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania; Harrisburg, Pennsylvania; Little Rock, Arkansas; Indianapolis; St. Louis, Missouri. Now, before I get screamed at, there are a couple really nice cities in there. I like Pittsburgh, by the way. It used to be a shithole. Sorry, guys from Pittsburgh. Your town used to be a fucking shithole. It's a nice city now. Pittsburgh has done an amazing job of reinventing itself. Every town has its issues. Pittsburgh has really turned itself around from the lost, steel city that kind of went zoom. Unlike Detroit, sorry guys, if you're in Detroit, Pittsburgh did a great job. But guys, OMG, I'm from Ohio, born, raised, bred, Ohio blood in me. Toledo, Akron, Youngstown. Guys, and I am so sorry in advance for the people with my blood that's up there right now hating on me, wanting to come down and punch me. Affordable. Let's talk for a minute about affordable. Here's my biggest problem in what this is all about. Cheap does not equal price. There's cheap, price, and value in life. And where this comes into play with real estate, and I want to teach my young first-time buyers this, because a lot of my experienced buyers are like, yeah, we already know this, John. This is really designed for my first-time buyers and my second home buyers retiring down from the north. I go back to the Ford Taurus and the Honda Accord back in the 80s. I'm not dogging the modern Ford, okay? This is about the 80s Ford Taurus and Honda Accord. I knew a friend of mine whose mom had a Ford Taurus in the 80s. And I knew another person's mom who had a Honda Accord. The Ford Taurus was a little cheaper less expensive off the dealer lot to buy than the Honda Accord. But the Ford Taurus over the long haul was a much more expensive car to own than the Honda Accord. The Honda Accord held its value a lot better than the Ford Taurus, and the Ford Taurus literally lived on the back of a damn tow truck. Plus it drove like shit. And what does that have to do with real estate? Well, you guys already know the answer to that. Everything. Youngstown, Ohio is very similar to Dayton, Ohio. And to compare and say, well, Youngstown, Ohio is the most affordable town in the United States. Well, no, it's not. Why is that? Okay. Let's say you guys move to Youngstown, Ohio tomorrow. John, we're moving to Youngstown. We can buy a home in Youngstown, a gorgeous home for $100,000 that would cost us $250,000 for that same home in Tampa. Okay. Have you actually gone and looked at getting a job in Youngstown, Ohio? Have you? Do you know how hard it is to get a job in Youngstown, Ohio, even to this day? Do you? Do you know, even in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, which is showing signs of light, and sorry, I have a lot of friends still in Dayton, Ohio, and I have a lot of respect for them. But even my dang friends in Dayton, Ohio, most of them want to get out of Dayton, Ohio. The vast majority of my Daytonians want to get the hell out of Dayton. And the vast majority of my friends at Dayton, unless they own their own businesses, aren't making shit. My friends in Ohio that are working for a company in a Dayton or a Youngstown or a Toledo are making half of what they would in a Tampa Bay. So if you get a house for half, guys, but you're only making half, are you really living in a cheaper town? Duh! No, you're not. Now, that's only one part of the equation. Because if you look at the average rate of appreciation in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, hell, 30 years, Tampa Bay has out appreciated in value Youngstown, Ohio by a factor of 20-fold. Hell, Youngstown, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio has depreciated in value. It's gone down in value. Hell, my dad's condo that he bought for $60,000 back in 1987 is only worth $90,000 today. But a $60,000 investment in Tampa Bay in 1987 is worth about $250,000 today. And so when I see these studies talk about affordability, that's bullshit. Not to mention the fact that, let's talk about something else. Crappy homes tend to have crappy construction quality. We all know it. One of the biggest misconceptions that I get from young buyers is, John, I'm going to buy a shithole crack house and I'm going to fix that up and I'm going to live in it, yada yada. I'm not against fixing up a home, guys. By the way, I've fixed up many. But buying a home that needs fixed up in a crappy neighborhood is not always the best thing to do. You buying a $100,000 home and living at Home Depot, if it's a poorly constructed home. I had a buddy of mine, he moved to Houston. He made a lot of money. He could have lived in any area he wanted in Tampa Bay, but he wanted to live in a nasty part of town. And I understand why. And in his case, he had a lot of family in that nasty part of town. And I actually respected him a lot for it. And I asked him one time, I'm not going to use his name, but I said, so-and-so, why do you want to live in that nasty part of town? And he said, it's home. It's the only home I ever known. I understood it. But I once said to him, I said, you know, fixing up a nasty home in a nasty area, when you're done, you're still in a nasty area. And the problem I've seen my entire career, again and again and again and again, as we get back to this Youngstown, Ohio stuff, is if we move to a nasty area, and we fix up a nasty home in a nasty area, at the end of the day, we might have a nice home, but it's still in a nasty area. We don't get that appreciation. We don't get that pull off the bottom. So is it really still affordable? We have low wage. We have a shitty area. We fixed up a poorly constructed home in a shitty area that does not gain an appreciation. And not only that, all the homes around it, guess what, in the circumference are shitty homes. And those shitty homes pull our nice home that we just fixed up back down. And all the neighbors who don't take care of their homes pull our home back up, or they steal the damn air conditioner, or they shoot bullets through our home. I'm not kidding you. Happens. There's part two to this. A very important part. Data manipulation. So I've watched countless articles lately manipulate the data to say, Lawrence Yun, chief economist, National Association of Realtors, whatever, I think, and countless other guys coming out and giving data on this, the real estate market, and they mean well, and God forbid they're going to probably stone me, but I've seen every news station stating, here is the real estate data, and here's how our real estate market is doing. But I find I get frustrated with this data because why am I so frustrated? Because it gives you, the public, an inaccurate perception of what is going on in the real estate market, that we on the street, that are actually on the street, driving around the streets every day with people in our car, listing homes, we know damn well what's going on, and we know it's not the truth. Now, truth is in the eye of the beholder, and every neighborhood in the United States has a different truth. But if we're painting the big, broad picture to totally what is actually going on in the real estate market, 3-4 points. Data is looking in the rearview mirror. It's what's going on behind us. So the Federal Reserve, U.S. government, and a lot of well-meaning real estate data people are looking behind them. They're looking what happened before, behind. They're getting data, but the data is based on the last quarter, or hell, the last year. I just saw another statistic today. Tampa and Miami home prices are up, way up, this year over last year. True, but Tampa and Miami prices today, right now, today in Tampa Bay, our prices are actually pulling back in most of the areas that I'm personally working. Right now, today, my sellers are dropping price. So if you go and you tell a seller today that data, it gives them a false sense that, oh shit, I can raise my prices another 18%. You put their home on the market, and then they're pissed off when their home doesn't sell. It's bullshit data. When we hear mean median mode of the data indicates, well, let's talk about that, because if we look at the average sales price in, pick an area that we work a lot in last year, Parrish, Florida, Ruskin, Florida, Riverview, Florida, Wesley Chapel, one of these bedroom communities in Tampa Bay, or Sterling Ranch out here in Douglas County, Colorado, the average sales price, and I'm making this up, is up 10%. Well, yeah, but if those homes went to contract with those builders a lot of times a year ago, guys, okay, and that new book business that was new booked a year ago, just closed a month ago, well, guess what happens? It makes it look like that price went up, when in fact, those people committed to those contracts a year ago, which was a reflection of what the market was doing a year ago. You say, yeah, but John, they closed just a month ago. Yeah, but they put $50,000 down. Some of them committed the farm. They bet the farm. They had huge forward commitments of their cash at stake that they didn't want to walk away from Betty the Builder last year. They're not going to walk away from $50,000, $100,000. So they were forced to close this year, even if the price leveled or dropped. So that's point one. You have a lot of new construction closeouts now reflected on 2021 market conditions. Part two, when I hear, oh, the market went up, and we use this, the median of the market or the middle of the market, well, sometimes what will happen is, and I'm making a lot of this stuff up as an illustration of what can happen. If you get one kind of wild card or black sheep or dinosaur or ugly duckling or pretty duckling in a neighborhood, let's say you get some crazy ass $20 million farmhouse out here in Douglas County that sells, and let's say 20 other homes sell for $100,000. You get where I'm going. Data a lot of times depends on how you look at the data. And again, it depends on what metric you're looking at. But if we have one home that sold for $20 million and 20 other homes that sold for $100,000, you never get home in Douglas County for $100,000, but you get what I'm saying. And you divide that out, it skews your data. One thing that would happen in Dayton, Ohio, where I'm originally from, is Huber Heights. You might get a town where, let's say you had the military, and you would have a whole shitload of homes that sell very close in price, all to each other. All homes in Huber Heights or out by Wright-Patterson Air Force Base would sell for $235,000. And it would really set the median or the mode. Something very close to each other. So everybody thinks that the price in Dayton, Ohio is $235. But it completely skews the fact that outside of that area of town where the military base is, you have a ton of homes selling for $63,000 in a lot of blighted areas that go on for miles. And then in the doctor areas or old money areas, you still have a lot of $3 million homes. And so you have that. And so another thing with data is you might have a group of foreclosures that all sell at the same time. Let's say an investor gets in trouble and you get 15 of that investor's foreclosures that they owned in the neighborhood, and they were all shitholes, they had all been gutted, and they all sell for way below market, $150,000. It can skew the data to make it look like the sky is falling in a neighborhood when in fact that's not the case. And infinitum. And I'm not trying to exhaust or bore you on data, but my point is data can be very misleading to the public. A new factory moves into an area, a new factory moves out of an area, and I get calls on this, guys. I get calls from you all the time on data. What's going on in my neighborhood? What's going on in the market? I heard prices went up 18%. I heard prices went down 15%. Whoa, what's going on? And I'm constantly, and I know a lot of other agents feel the same thing, data. Another thing I heard and I saw, these top cities rated. I could not believe the following. I was mind blown. I've been to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I know a lot of you have been too, and I apologize in advance because you guys know I can be offensive. I saw a study that said Myrtle Beach, South Carolina was rated higher than St. Pete Beach, Clearwater Beach in the United States as places to move to. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, guys, I've been to Myrtle Beach. It's got one of the highest crime rates in the United States for you guys that don't know. I almost got jacked with Mel there 3 different times in one day. I saw a guy kill his dog. I had a creeper follow us on the interstate, and a pervert in a park try to molest me one day. I'm not dogging all of Myrtle Beach, but if anybody wants to have an argument on social media with me about Myrtle Beach and Pinellas County, let's get it on. And I had another of one of these wonderful places rated that actually voted Pueblo, Colorado as one of the top mountain places to go. For anybody that is a local, fellow Coloradoan, we gotta zip our lips. We already know that is really funny. So where am I going with all this is back to you, the consumer buyer in Connecticut or Ohio or Canada or the United Kingdom or Silicon Valley, California, and you're thinking about buying a second home, or you're the first time buyer in Florida or Colorado, and you're considering investing your hard-earned money in Florida or Colorado or Ohio, and you're looking at cost benefit, what's cheaper, where is your budget best spent? And I'm not here to sit there and tell you, oh, Florida's the best place to go, or Colorado. Not saying that at all. But we, and you should have an honest conversation with agents in South Carolina, North Carolina, California, wherever you're looking to go. Have an honest conversation. Have an honest conversation with me. But let's put facts. Let's actually put data. I'll put a spreadsheet. I'll do a PowerPoint for you on the computer. And not just in Tampa Bay. I'll put a PowerPoint for you out in the Panhandle, Daytona Beach, Ohio. I will PowerPoint real data points of wages, disposable income, cost of housing, cost of insurance, cost of utilities, future appreciation, predicted price growth, cost of the various repairs from a frame home to a block home. Let's look at all the different price, right? And then the last thing is value. So we talked about cost, we talked about price, but there's one last thing that I never hear any of these damn magazines talk about. Value. What are you talking about, John? Here we go, squirrel again. What are we doing on planet Earth? Value. Well, what do you mean? Well, I'm here on planet Earth to hopefully have a good time, enjoy life, be a productive citizen, hopefully be a good human being, leave this earth a little better than I found it, not just suck up resources and buy shit. Value. Okay, where's my life? Where's the best value for me, for my lifestyle on planet Earth? Is it in Gary, Indiana? Or is it in Douglas County, Colorado? Well, everybody has a different place on planet Earth that they find value in. But the magazines never talk about value. You know, they never talk about what's pretty. You know, St. Petersburg, the city, is really pretty. The downtown. Fort DeSoto Park, pretty. Douglas County, pretty. You know, the foothills of Colorado, pretty. Napa Valley, California, if you can afford it, pretty. Malibu, pretty. I mean, there's Portugal, pretty. There's a billion places on planet Earth. You get what I'm saying. Quality of life, health care, clean drinking water. All these things are beautiful. And health care and access to parks and things that you find of value do matter. It's called value. You know, quality of life, that matters. And very few of these magazines, some do, but a lot of these places rated never talk about the thing that I always am blown away with. Value to you. Quality of life to you. And my clients call me up, and that's why we started The Good Life, which if you guys go look me up on social media, you'll see on YouTube and all these videos I make called The Good Life. It's not to beat my chest. It's to refocus people on, to me, what's important. But if you're going to buy a property, if you do wind up using our company, it's to refocus, hopefully, us on what is important. Why are we buying homes? Is it to buy this box behind me, or is it to find value in our lives? And for me, personally, it's to find value. So on these places rated, when you're rating the places, I would like to hope when they give you the top 10 list of what's most affordable, I'd like them to also say, what has the most value, and to justify it not just based on digits in a bank account, not that that's not important, but what's going to give you the longest life expectancy? What's going to give you the healthiest clean drinking water and air? What's going to give you the highest wages and most disposable income in your pocket? What prices are predicted to increase the most and wages increase the most? What is the true lowest cost of living? Not just the lowest price, but what has the lowest utilities, lowest health care, so on and so on. And to back it up with facts. And do any of these damn people that write these articles actually mention that they live in these places or have visited the places that they write about? Or do they sit there and write this shit and they've never even been there? Because I don't think that the guy that wrote this has ever even been in any of these towns. But there's my rant for the day. Love you guys. If any of you guys ever want to bitch at me or argue with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see it. Send me a message on social media or an email, or give me a call. You got my number. Um, if I can help any of you in any way, or put together like a plan to hopefully build some value in your life. We're here in Douglas County, Colorado. We're in Tampa Bay. Part of our Good Life series to build value in your life and hopefully bring some happiness. Also part of our Best of Both Worlds, where we try to help people find beach and mountains homes. And then part of our mid-century modern kick, if you're into MCM properties, those are our little hyper niches, as well as our medical professional. We love working with doctors, physician assistants, and nurses wherever you're at in planet Earth. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and hope we get a chance to talk with you again. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Talk with you soon. Bye, guys.